some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Happy Frozen Frenzy, all 32 teams out there on the ice today. It's time for Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV. We're going to go over each and every single one of these games, my best bets in all of them, as well as those player props. So we're going to go through this as fast as possible, you guys. I don't want to take too much of your time, but sit down, grab a coffee, because this will not be quick. Yesterday, we did 15 minutes on one game. We can't get into that much detail today, but I'll give you as much as possible. The first game kicking off at 6 o'clock Eastern is the Washington Capitals taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, we will see these teams playing tomorrow. These are the only two teams playing tomorrow. They play back-to-back nights versus each other. When we look at tonight's matchup and what those lines are over on FanDuel, let me just pull it up. For some reason, of course, my FanDuel was on football. The Washington Capitals coming in at plus 100. The Philadelphia Flyers coming in at minus 120. This total sitting at 5.5. We know the Washington Capitals have been playing strong hockey out there, and I do lean to this one as staying under the 5.5. The under 5.5 coming in at plus 106. Charlie Lindgren expected in goal tonight here for the Washington Capitals, and Urgent for the Philadelphia Flyers. Now we have the Capitals rolling with momentum. They've won their last 3 games. They won in a high-scoring battle versus the Devils on Saturday, 6-5. I'm looking for that defense to lock down. This is a defense, though, that is still allowing those goals on average 3.5 per game. But when we look at the Flyers, this Flyers team only averaging 2.4 goals per game. They are getting those shots, but they're not finding the back of the net. Look for Charlie Lindgren to lock down, the defense to lock down stronger. The Washington Capitals to get the road here on the win at plus 105. And this game to stay under the total of 5.5. Now, home team has won the last 2 meetings, but the road team has won 5 of the last 7. So I do think the road team has the advantage here, even though we saw that home team squeak out in the last 2. When we look at the majority of the games, the road ice is the advantage between these two. To make some frickin' money, one day game down, 15 to go, you guys. The Minnesota Wild taking on the Florida Panthers is the next game. This one kicking off at 6:30. Let me just find current odds on this one here for you guys. There's so many games on the slate. Let me know which one you're most excited for out there, which ones you're circling that you want to really bet, and let me know in the comments where you're betting. So the Minnesota Wild plus 126, the Dogs on the road at minus 152. We got the Florida Panthers, and this total, again, we've got another 5.5. Now it's minus 130 to the over, 5.5 plus 106 to the under. I know what you're thinking. It's dangerous to take a Florida Panthers team to the under when we're looking at those totals, and I'm just not going to get there. Matthew Tkachuk is back in the lineup, and I do think this game is a solid game for both of these teams. I don't love it either way to that total, but when I'm looking at it, I'm looking at the value on the Minnesota Wild. Again, you're grabbing them at plus 126. I do think it's the right way to go. Gustafsson expected in goal for them tonight. He's 3-0-1 on the season with a 1.49 goals against average and a .950 save percentage. So if Gustafsson can do what we've seen out of him so far this season, the Minnesota Wild and the value we're getting on them to pull off the win here on the road, I think is a really solid way to look. Now, this team has been on a road trip. This is game 4 of 7 out there on the road. They have the Tampa Bay Lightning on Thursday. So we're going to start to see the tide legs, but I don't think it comes in this one. This team kills 75%, but they're only allowing an average of 2 goals per game on 32.8 shots. So it is goaltending that is getting them the wins here, but I look for these two teams to be competitive. I like what the special teams is doing here for the Minnesota Wild, and I think it just gives them that extra oomph that can get them the win here. Their power play connecting at 31.3% of the time. They're averaging 30.6 shots on goal per game. And yes, the Florida Panthers have been playing great hockey, but the problem here with the Florida Panthers, Bobrovsky, his numbers aren't bad, you guys. He's still got a goals against average under 3, but that save percentage of 896, I don't trust it. I also don't trust this defense. This defense allowing 30 shots on goal per game and an average of 3.43 goals per game. Now, it's their kill that's absolutely elite for them out here. So we've got a strong power play for the Minnesota Wild, converting at 31.4%, fourth best in the league. But we do have that kill here of the Florida Panthers, killing 89.5% of the penalties. So if I had to, gun to my head, take a total, I would take this one under 5.5. But I do think the Minnesota Wild can edge this one out and get the win. So I will take the Wild as my best bet here at plus 126. Barkov's still out of this lineup. For the Florida Panthers, Matthew Tkachuk will be back in it. Next game, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the New Jersey Devils. The Lightning and the Maple Leafs were the only games last night. When we look at those games last night, those two playing each other, the Lightning actually pulled Andrei Vasilevskiy pretty early. He allowed 4 goals on, I believe it was 14 shots on net. Yeah, it was 4 on 14. And they pulled him, put Johannes in. So I'm looking at Andrei Vasilevskiy to come out in this matchup here versus the New Jersey Devils. I do think we get a bounce back here of the Tampa Bay Lightning. They played a couple of road games here where they haven't locked down defensively. They haven't looked great. They've been giving up those goals, and I'm looking for that in this matchup. Now, this total sitting at 6.5 between the Lightning and the Devils. I'm going to take it under the 6.5. That's coming in at minus 104. And I know that both of these teams can be dangerous offensively, but I think this is a defensive goaltending battle between Andrei Vasilevskiy and Jacob Markstrom in goal here for the New Jersey Devils. Now, when we're looking at a side, I know the Lightning are on a back-to-back, but I've got to go there with this team. They're coming in at plus 122, minus 146 here for the Devils. Just when we look at a couple of the trends, the Lightning have won 7 of the last 8 meetings, and the last 3 in New Jersey. So they've been so strong versus the New Jersey Devils. And I know there's been changes on both sides of the puck for these teams. We know there's no more Steven Stamkos, but we've seen Kucherov really pick up where Steven Stamkos left off for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I love what we're seeing out of Kucherov. Now, Kucherov didn't get us a goal in the first period last night. That was a bummer, but we were able to see Kucherov so far on the season. He's averaging 2 points per game, only 1 point last night. He was able to get the assist, but he has 7 goals and 3 assists. So I'm looking for a strong night out of Kucherov here. It is a hard scheduling spot for the Lightning, off a back-to-back versus the Leafs last night, but I think because of what they did with Andrei Vasilevskiy, pulling him and putting a Johansson in, that the game plan changed from now we're down versus the Leafs, get our best goaltender out of this game and get him back in tomorrow. So I like what they did. The Devils, high-intensity team. We know they're going to bring the heat here versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. Jacob Markstrom versus the Lightning in his career has gone 5-6-2 in 14 games with a goals against average of 3.38. That is scary here versus the Tampa Bay Lightning team that is averaging on this season 4 goals, 26 shots on goal. That power play isn't clicking like they would like. It's only clicking at 12.5%. They've got to be careful out here because the kill is phenomenally strong here for the Devils, and the Devils also dominate at that face-off. They're winning 51.4% of their face-offs on the ice. We know the young, talented team that the New Jersey Devils are, and I'm high on them this season. I do think this team has the ability to go all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, but I'm looking here at the Lightning in this spot. They're home versus the Wild on Thursday. They're a fast team, and I do think they can compete here with the Devils. It's going to come down to goaltending. Vasilevskiy versus Jacob Markstrom. I'm going to put my money on Vasilevskiy after being pulled. He's going to be frustrated with himself. This is a prime bounce back spot for him here. These teams have trended to that over, though, with 5 of the last 8 going over that total. The next game on deck with the Dallas Stars versus the Buffalo Sabres. Now, the Dallas Stars rolling in as the favorite at minus 152. Kind of shocking that the Dallas Stars aren't a bigger favorite here. Plus 126 for the Buffalo Sabres and that total of 5.5. So the 5.5 juice to the over at minus 132 and to the under at plus 108. When we look at these two teams, it's hard for me to find a way to bet on the the Buffalo Sabres. It's a hard thing for me to do. I want to go there. I love looking at a home dog. I just can't get there in this one. We look at previous matchups. The Stars have been so strong versus Buffalo. Jake Ottinger has been lights out in goal and again has had his struggles. Now, I do think he's going to get his feet underneath him, and I do expect him to finish the season with solid numbers here. It just hasn't happened as of yet. And we know the Sabres finally got a win over the Chicago Blackhawks. That was a 4-2 win on Saturday. So they should be looking to roll with some momentum in this game. But I'm just not buying into Buffalo at this point. I still do think Buffalo is going to turn things around. But until they do, I can't bet on them, especially against a hot goaltender like Jake Ottinger and the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars defensively are completely locking down. They're only allowing 1.5 goals per game, best overall in the league. Now, they're still allowing those shots to come in at 29.8 shots, but their kill, absolutely the best overall at 95.2% of the time. The kill is non-existent here. The power play is non-existent for the Buffalo Sabres as well. They've yet to convert on that power play. Their kill isn't great, 72.7%. And we don't have a strong power play here for the Stars, only 11.1%, but they're moving around a couple of lines. So I do think with the movement on a couple of these lines, we probably see this power play start to click out there. We know last season they did have a strong power play. So for myself, the Stars in regulation the Stars straight up on the money line is too juicy, but the Stars in regulation at plus 100, I do think is a solid way to go. We've looked at this team in 5 of their last 6 games. They have absolutely dominated the team that they've played. They're coming off a game versus the Edmonton Oilers where they won it 4-1. Now, they do have the Bruins on deck on Thursday, so could they overlook the Buffalo Sabres in this one? At least it's not a back-to-back. I think it is a little bit of a look ahead, but with how this Stars team has played, I'm willing to take a shot on them here in reg at plus 100. Their only loss did come last week to the Washington Capitals, 3-2 loss in that. If you're looking for someone to bet here with the Sabres, I would look at Tage Thompson. Tage Thompson for that anytime goal coming in at plus 200. We know he is so strong offensively for the Sabres. And if they're going to find the back of the net, I do think he will get it. Now, there is some momentum. This team looking to keep that alive. If they want to battle out this divisional game, they need to bring everything they got tonight. They can't spend time in the box. They can't allow this new power play lineup to connect tonight for the Dallas Stars. I just don't know if it's happening, you guys. So not my favorite bet of the day, taking the Stars in reg, but I'm going to go there. Next game. I want to thank you guys all for joining us. By the way, we're going over every single game in today's Frozen Frenzy every day live here on SportsGrid TV at noon Eastern. So don't miss out. Let's make some freaking money today. The next game, the New York Rangers taking on the Montreal Canadiens. Now the Rangers over a $2 favorite at minus 235. The Montreal Canadiens, a scrappy underdog that we love to bet on, are coming in at plus 190. That line has actually moved. It was plus 180 earlier, and we got a total 6.5. Now the 6.5 juice to the under at minus 132. It is coming in at plus 108 to the over 6.5. And I do think that holds value, even though I'm looking at goalie props in this one. So it goes against itself, taking an over and looking at a goalie, save shots on goal prop. But I do think the New York Rangers come out and just blast the puck at Sam Montembeault. Now, Sam Montembeault for the Montreal Canadiens hasn't been as strong in his last 2 games. You look at those first 2 games and the amount of shots on his net that he was able to save, and he was brilliant out there on the ice. I'm expecting another performance out of him like this on his home ice tonight. We look at him over 32.5 save shots on goal coming in at plus 130, and I will go there. Now, you can take over 31.5 and lay a little bit of juice. I want that plus money. I'm looking at a Rangers team that comes in here averaging 33 shots on goal per game. We also have a Montreal Canadiens team that's allowing 33.3. I'm expecting 40 shots on Sam Montague tonight as the New York Rangers roll in here on their last game on the road of 3. They're home versus the Panthers on Thursday, and they come firing in this one. This could be a little bit of a look ahead for the Florida Panthers, for the New York Rangers in this battle as well. So something to keep your mind on. We love betting on Montreal. I love betting on Montreal. I don't know. Do you guys love betting on Montreal? I love betting on them, especially in that underdog role. On that puck line for the Montreal Canadiens, they're coming in plus 1.5 at minus 134. So we are laying the juice, taking that puck line. But if you want to sprinkle on that money line keeps going up as well. They were plus 188 earlier. They're now plus 190. On the money line, we know Cole Caulfield has been absolutely fantastic out there. Nick Suzuki, I'm looking a 2-step up as well. And those top lines for the Rangers, you got Panarin, you got Trocheck. They are playing incredible hockey. So we do trend to the over when these teams match up. We trend to back and forth battles, high intensity, high shooting battles out there on the ice. Now, the Montreal Canadiens have lost their last 3, and we've seen the Rangers win their last 3, their last one being over the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-1. I'm going to take a shot on the over 6.5 at plus 108, and I'm also going to take a shot on the Montreal Canadiens on the puck line and with a sprinkle on that money line. I think the best bet is Sam Montague over. He has saved shots on goal of 32.5. Let's move on to the next one. Stars in regulation. Glad you're going there, and you're going to take a chance on the Rangers laying 1.5 on that puck line. Then my only concern is the Florida Panthers on deck and who will be the hungrier team. We got 3 wins here for the Rangers, and yes, they want to get the win, but in that third period, the backdoor cover that we all know happens in football can also happen in hockey, where we see the Montreal Canadiens pull their goaltender, get a useless goal that's still not going to get them the win, and cover that puck line. So that's why I'll go with Montreal. The next game, Toronto. The Maple Leafs are back in action. Again, they played last night. They got the win over the Tampa Bay Lightning. We saw them come out strong offensively and lock down on the defensive side of things as well. They did score 4 goals, though, on 14 shots on Andre Vasilevskiy. Vasilevskiy having an off night last night. So when you're looking at the Toronto Maple Leafs rolling into Columbus today, they're a huge favorite, you guys, and we always know this team is going to be overpriced. They're minus 240 on the money line. Sign me not up ever on that kind of price on the Maple Leafs. Plus 195 on the Columbus Blue Jackets and a total of 6.5. Now, the juice is coming to the over 6.5 at minus 115. When we look here at Toronto, I think this could be a good fade spot, you guys. Second night of a back-to-back, and Joseph Woll expected to get the start. Now, we haven't got confirmation, so wait on confirmation here. If Joseph Woll is getting the start, and if he is, I'm coming back in on the Columbus Blue Jackets. And now I'll look at a couple things. The Columbus Blue Jackets on the puck line plus 1.5 at minus 125 holds value to me. I also like their team total over 2.5 goals, and I absolutely love actually their team total over 2.5 goals with Joseph Woll in. That is coming in at minus 118. I do think the Columbus Blue Jackets, win or lose, can hit Joseph Woll strong. If they lose this one, I would expect it to be a 4-3 style game. So that pushes us over the 2.5 goals for Columbus. It also pushes us to that puck line plus 1.5 at minus 120-ish win here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, Tarasov expected in net for Columbus. He doesn't have great numbers, you guys. A save percentage below 900, a 3.71 goals against average. This team has been strong at winning those faceoffs 50% of the time. Their power play is converting at 28.6%. We look here at the Toronto Maple Leafs. Their power play is weak right now. It's only converting at 12.5%. Their faceoff, though, is strong at 54.4%, and they've got an elite kill, killing 85% of their opponent's power plays. So weakness here of Toronto on that power play, weakness in goal. We have a strong power play here for Columbus, and they've got home ice advantage. So those are the goals, or those are the bets I'm going to go with. I do think here, though, Austin Matthews, you can't deny what he's been able to do in his career versus Columbus and what he's been able to do as well out there on the ice so far this season. Austin Matthews has had at least one goal in 9 straight meetings versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. So I do think here, looking at Austin Matthews for the anytime goal, you're going to have to lay juice, but it's a solid way to go. He had a goal last night, and he's had a goal in his last 3 games, including last night, and now he is still leading the league in shots on goal per game. His number is too juiced, you guys, and I don't find value taking a player for 5+ shots on goal, but he is averaging 5.6. He's had 34 shots already on the season on net. Now, if we're looking at who from Columbus, because I do think a higher scoring game, Monahan, you can take Monty here for the anytime goal at +260. You can also take Adam Fertilli. He's coming in at +330, and I think he's a strong second look. And then William Nylander for Toronto. If you're just looking for Toronto props, he's being strong on the season. He's also been strong in his career versus the Columbus Blue Jackets as well. In the last 5 meetings, he's been able to put up goals in 4 of those 5 meetings. So Nylander and Matthews here for the Leafs if you're looking for their props. And then if you're looking for Columbus, I would look at Monahan and Adam Fantilli. Okay. We're getting through this, you guys. Let me know which one. Bredman, anytime goal. Chris Kreider for the anytime goal. And Montague saves over. Yeah, let's look for him to have a performance like he did in his first couple of games. Detroit facing the Islanders. Okay, lines for this one. Detroit, the underdog on the road at +136. We also have the New York Islanders, the favorite at -164. This total 6.5. -130 to the under and +106 to the over. I'm going to just sign up for the Red Wings in this one. I'm looking at the goaltending matchup. Sorokin in net for the Islanders and Cam Talbot here for the Detroit Red Wings. I think Cam Talbot can steal them this game. We look at his numbers versus the Islanders, and they are solid, you guys. 8-3-1 record in 14 games versus the New York Islanders with a 2.52 goals against average and a save percentage of .922. Sorokin still has good numbers versus the Red Wings. He's gone 4-2-2 with a 2.70 goals against average, but I'm looking at Cam Talbot to come out here and stand on his head. Now, the Red Wings are off that win versus the Nashville Predators. They were able to get a 5-2 win there. And the Islanders coming in here, strong face-off for this team. The power play isn't that great. The power play is a little bit stronger for the Red Wings. The kill is so weak for both of these teams. Both of these teams only killing 62.5% of their opponents' power plays. But we also look at these teams versus each other. We've seen the Red Wings win 2 of the last 3 meetings, and the last 3 games have been higher scoring battles. I'm going to look here at the Red Wings to get the win, Cam Talbot to steal it for them. We are getting 33.3 shots on goal on average out of the Islanders. If you can get Cam Talbot at a save shots on goal of right around 28.5, I would look at it. I would actually take it up to probably 30.5 because you look here at the Red Wings, they're allowing an average of 34.2 shots on goal per game. So I'm expecting Cam Talbot to face at least 35 shots on his net tonight and to stand on his head. Now, if I'm looking at who's going to get the goals, if you want to take someone here for the Islanders, Matthew Barzal, he's only got 1 goal in the season, but he's needing to step up for this Islanders team. I can see that goal coming tonight, and we've got value at +195. Of course, if I'm looking here for the Red Wings to get the win, I've got a goal scorer for you guys for the Red Wings, Patrick Kane here. He's coming in at +240 for the anytime goal. He's yet to get a goal on the season, you guys. But when we look at Patrick Kane, the last 2 games versus the Islanders, he's been able to net us a goal in both of those. So give me Patrick Kane to step up in this game for the Detroit Red Wings. Give me Matthew Barzal to get things rolling here for the Islanders and us to have a couple explosions. Now, both of these teams are top heavy. They've got great top 6 lineups, and both of them play the Devils next. It's interesting. So the Red Wings play the Devils at home on Thursday, and then we have the Islanders play the Devils on Friday. So the Devils are going to be in that back-to-back situation. We've actually got a couple teams with how today's schedule works. Every team playing here On Tuesday, only the Capitals game playing back and forth tomorrow versus the Flyers. Then we've got the Thursday, Friday back-to-backs for a lot of these teams. So something to note there, and to note which teams really struggle on those back-to-backs. The Winnipeg Jets taking on the St. Louis Blues. The Winnipeg Jets sitting 5-0 on the season. This team yet to lose a game. We got a couple interesting ones. We got the Jets yet to lose. We got the Sharks yet to win, and the Predators yet to win, and the Kings yet to play on their home ice. They will play on, I believe, Friday on their home ice, but we'll get into their game in a second. Looking at the Winnipeg Jets versus the St. Louis Blues, you guys, we got the Winnipeg Jets, of course, the favorite. But why aren't they a bigger favorite? They're rolling into St. Louis at minus 140 here on the money line. I expected them to be a bigger favorite like the Toronto Maple Leafs are. So that kind of gets me questioning these lines here. We do have a total of 5.5. The St. Louis Blues, I love what they're doing on defense. Robert Thomas, I also love what we're seeing out of him. For the Blues, he's been able to make us some money getting those goals and getting those points. So what are we going to do with this game? Do the Winnipeg Jets stay alive? Let me know if you think this team stays alive and goes 6-0 to start the season. Connor Hellebuck has been strong, and he's been strong in his career versus the St. Louis Blues. Binghamton, the defense needs to step up in front of him tonight and give him extra support, because we know the Winnipeg Jets, they're clicking offensively and they're clicking defensively. The Winnipeg Jets averaging just under 5 goals per game at 4.8. They're getting 32.8 shots on goal per game, and their power play is the best overall in the league. And they're going against a kill here of the St. Louis Blues. It's only killing 73.3% of those power plays. So if the Blues get in the box, Winnipeg gets out on that power play, Winnipeg has every opportunity of winning this battle. I do like what the Blues have done defensively, limiting opponents to 2.83 goals per game. They've won their last 2 games as well. Divisional matchup, give me the under 5.5 and hold your breath. The St. Louis and Binghamton have a good defensive game. You're looking at the under 5.5 coming in at minus 102. I do think a playmaker for St. Louis, if St. Louis is going to get it done, you look at Jake Neighbors and his ability for the St. Louis Blues to have that in front of the net presence without getting that offside call. So I think Jake Neighbors will be in front of the net. He's going to be in front of Connor Hellebuck, and I could see him netting a goal. So he's coming in for the anytime goal plus 320. You can also look at his shots on goal tonight, because Connor Hellebuck is so strong. The 3+ shots on goal for Jake Neighbors coming in at plus 225. So I expect him to just be planted right in front of Connor Hellebuck, stay out of his crease, and to get those shots on him. So that's where I'm going, you guys. Strong trends to Winnipeg winning this battle between these two, with them winning 9 of the last 10 meetings. But for me, goaltending battle all day long, defensive battle as well. You guys, thank you so much for joining me here. We've got a handful of games still to go over. We're at the 8:15 time slot. The 8:15 time slot kicks off with the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, the Vancouver Canucks, we've got an interesting one here for the goaltender, and we're going to get into that. Firstly, let's give you the odds. The Canucks coming in here at minus 178, and the Blackhawks at plus 146. Now, this total sitting at 5.5, and I would be terrified to take this to the over 5.5, even though the books are laying the juice. I think if you're taking it to the over 5.5, it's because you think the Vancouver Canucks themselves can probably get 5 of these goals. Now, the total to the under is plus 104. Even though I'm scared to take this to the over, terrified actually, I'd still be scared to take this to the under. So I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the Chicago Blackhawks and their team total. Their team total under 2.5 coming in at minus 110. Neither of these teams have been scoring a lot, but we have to look at the goaltending, the storyline behind the goaltending tonight. Now, Lankican is prepared to face his former team here. So Lankinkin played for the Chicago Blackhawks. He did play a couple of seasons in between Chicago and Vancouver with the Nashville Predators, and we saw him phenomenally strong with the Preds versus the Chicago Blackhawks. He played 2 games and had a 1.50 goals against average and a 947 save percentage. I am looking for Lankinkin to bring that in to today's game versus the Chicago Blackhawks. You got to love the angles of the goaltenders versus their former teams. Now, on the season, phenomenal, 2-0-1 with a 1.28 goals against average and a 953 save percentage. He's stopped 81 of 85 shots on his goal. He recorded the shutout in the last game versus the Philadelphia Flyers. If you can get him for a shutout here today, I would definitely hop on it. I haven't found it over on FanDuel yet, but you can look at the team total under for Chicago. I would take him for the shutout. I would look at him. The goalie props still aren't up. I would look at him for over 26, 27, 28 and a half. The problem here with Chicago and looking at those numbers, will they get enough shots? We're seeing Vancouver limit opponents to 27.6, and they face much harder offenses here. And we have a Blackhawks team that's only averaging 28 shots on goal, 2.5 goals. So fade the Blackhawks, fade their team total, and look at Lankinkin for that shutout. I do think it's happening. Back-to-back shutouts for him would be absolutely phenomenal. Now, this is the last game on the road for the Vancouver Canucks of 4. They're back home on Saturday versus the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they've got the Carolina Hurricanes on Monday and the Devils on Wednesday. So they've got a tough schedule ahead of them. They have won the last 7 meetings versus Chicago, covering the puck line in 6 of those. I do think just because of goaltending, this is where you're going to get the value, is looking at the goaltending matchup. JT Miller is day-to-day. He's questionable to make the lineup today, and we've got those hard opponents. So I don't want to lay the puck line. I just want to fade Chicago's team total. Neither of these teams have been scoring a lot of goals either. So that is something to remember. We definitely have an exciting day of NHL action out there. All 32 teams in action for the Frozen Frenzy. Let's get this money and let's go Dodgers and Kings. I'm with you there on that one. The Colorado Avalanche taking on the Seattle Seahawks is the next one. Colorado rolling in as a favorite at minus 125, which for me is a hard pill to swallow. This is a team that I still can't really trust defensively. And we look at the Seattle Kraken. This Seattle Kraken team has the depth out there on the ice. They're coming off an overtime win versus the Calgary Flames, where they won it 2-1. So they were able to limit Calgary and hand them the first loss of the season, when Calgary has been really clicking, overachieving what we expected out of the Calgary Flames this season. Now, this total sitting at 6.5 at minus 105 to the under, minus 115 to the under. Georgiev, I still don't trust. I still don't trust the defense here of Colorado. They're allowing close to 5 goals per game at 4.83. They've got a weak kill as well. They're only killing 68.4% of their opponent's power plays, and the power play is strong here for Seattle. Seattle, almost 30% conversion rate on the power play. It's clicking at 29.7%. I do think with how the home team has done and has fared between these two, Seattle looks like the right way to go in this one. I know it's dangerous here versus Colorado and what they can do offensively, but plus 104 for the Seattle Kraken, I'm going to sign up. The home team has won the last 6 meetings between these two. Now, when we look at the Avs, they have Utah on deck on Thursday. Then they're home on Sunday versus the Senators. Seattle has on Thursday at home the Jets, and then the Canes on Saturday. So no real huge look ahead for either of these teams. Yes, tough opponents on deck for them, but not an opponent where I would say there was an advantage on taking the other one because of so. I'm looking for this game just to clearly go over the total of 6.5. FanDuel has taken off, and this is something that blows my mind. You can't take the first period over 1.5 right now on FanDuel, or both teams to score in the first period. I don't know why that's being taken off the board for this game. We have been cashing on the first period and both teams to score in the first period with these two teams. So if you can get it on your book, maybe we'll open back up on FanDuel here. I will be betting it as soon as I can. But both teams to score in the first period and the over 1.5. You know what I do with these first period bets. I put a half a unit on the over 1.5 and a half the unit on both teams to score. Because if I'm really believing in an over 1.5, it's not because I'm believing in one team to score in the first period. I'm believing in both of those teams to score in the first period. If I'm just looking at one team to come out strong out of the gate and capitalize on errors by the other team, I'll look at the money line in the first period for that certain team instead of playing the over 1.5 or the both teams to score. So that's where I would go with this one. If you're looking for the power play points, you guys know we have to do it. Colorado has been cashing us big time. This team converting at 38.1% of their power play, second best overall in the league. And who has been cashing for us each and every game? Ross Colton has been an absolute moneymaker. Again, FanDuel's taken Ross Colton off the power play point prop. You can't find it anywhere, you guys. It's not on FanDuel. It's not on a couple other books that I have. He's still on that top power play. They are losing money left, right, and center. We were getting him at almost 5-1 turn money for that power play point to start the season. Last game, I believe it was 3-1 2-hour money, and today it's just gone. Looking at Ross Colton for the anytime goal tonight, coming in at plus 260. You could also look at him at 2+ points because I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. I would look at that. He's been fire on that top line with Nathan McKinnon and Rantanen. So he's just been a moneymaker. Now, power play point I would look at, because we can't get Ross Colton, is Cale Makar on the power play. His point coming in at plus 186. You could also look at him for the anytime goal at plus 375. I think both of these could cash in one play. He's been able to score on that power play already this season, and I do think we could see it happening again against this kill here of the Seattle Kraken that's only killing 75% of the power plays. Brandon Montour, though, I'll look at here for the Seattle Kraken to be able to get a point tonight. His anytime point coming in at plus 110. I was looking at Jared McCann, but Jared McCann coming in at minus 146. And you guys know, just way too much juice in this one. The Wings coming to the over. I like the Wings to the over. 5-4 style game. I can absolutely see it for the Wings in that one. You guys were flying through this slate. We're at the 8:45 time mark here with the Boston Bruins taking on the Nashville Predators. Now the Bruins, the dog on the road, okay? And we've already said the Preds yet to win a game this season. The Bruins, even though you look at their stats and their average goals per game, it looks solid. Their average goals per game, you guys, just to give you that, is 3.5 goals per game, 26.3 shots on goal. That power play, though, it's only clicking 16% of the time. Their faceoffs are strong. They're winning 52.7% of the faceoff. But something about this team just looks flat out there on the ice offensively. They lost on Saturday versus Utah, 2-1, low scoring battle on the ice. And I look at them today and I'm like, why are they a plus 115 underdog? And the Nashville Predators, you're having to lay juice at minus 138 when the Preds are yet to win. Is it because money's coming on the Predators because everyone thinks they're due? It's a dangerous place to be. We know what the Buffalo Sabres one season went, 12 games, 13 games, 14 games without winning. So I don't like playing on teams that I expect to be due. This line, this total sitting at 5.5 at minus 142 to the over. If the Predators are to win this is because of Saros. Saros versus the Boston Bruins has gone 2-4-1. So he has recorded more losses, but that goals against average is a 2.6 and a 925 save percentage. And when we look at the Bruins with how flat they've looked offensively out there, I think they're going to struggle to score on Saros tonight. I'm looking for him to have a solid game. Swayman expected here for the Boston Bruins. Now, the Preds have been allowing those goals to fly in. They're allowing an average of 4.6 goals per game. They're limiting the shots. They're holding opponents to 27, and their kill is strong at 86.7. So they're going to need to play their best hockey here tonight to be able to get the win. This is the last of 4 home games. They will be hitting the road. They face the Chicago Blackhawks on Friday, and then they're back home Saturday to face the Columbus Blue Jackets. So hard back-to-back for them on deck. They need to get this win. They have to break this losing streak. So I do believe that is why we're going to have to lay the juice on them. Again, I would look at Saros's save shots on goal tonight. We have the Predators averaging 35.4 shots on goal per game. So you could look at Swayman here, but I'm just not buying into it. With the Bruins averaging 26.3 and the Preds giving up 27.4, I would only look at Saros if his numbers coming in at 26.5. I wouldn't take it any higher than that because the Nashville Predators have allowed these goals to come in. It just hasn't been pretty for this team. Like Scott Wetzel says, my partner in crime on the weekends on the grid, winners bet on streaks, losers bet against them. The books are betting against them today. We'll see what happens in this one. The next matchup we have the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Now the Canes coming in at plus 112, the Oilers at minus 134, total of 6.5. The juice to the total is going to the under, you guys, at minus 122. We know explosive offenses on both sides, both of these teams able to light the lamp. Frederik Andersen expected here for the Carolina Hurricanes and Skinner for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, you guys know my thoughts on Stuart Skinner. I don't trust him in net. And we've seen Edmonton giving up these goals this season. Edmonton offensively isn't looking strong. They're only averaging 2 goals per game. They are putting up 32 shots on net. Their power play is non-existent, 6.7% conversion rate. Their faceoff, though, the best overall in the league, winning 57% of those faceoffs. When we look at Carolina, Carolina's getting back into form defensively. This is the team that we know, love, and trust to bet the unders on. They're allowing 2.7 goals, but they're holding opponents to 23.5 shots on goal per game, best overall in the league. Their kill coming in at 83.3%. Now, their faceoff is still strong at 50.4%. Their power play is clicking, you guys. Dangerous power play out here, 25% of the time. They're averaging 32.5 shots on goal. So it's their kill that has their strength, but against a weak power play here of the Edmonton Oilers, I expect that kill to really dominate in this one. I'm going to take the money on the Canes on the money line to give Edmonton another loss. That's coming in at plus 112. I just don't trust Edmonton right now. They're off that loss to the Dallas Stars, 4-1. And we look here, the Canes are going to be mad after losing to the St. Louis Blues. That was a 4-3 loss in their last one out there. And the road team has won the last 5 meetings between these two. So I'll take the road ice advantage here for a Carolina Hurricanes team that has bought into their defense again this season and has locked down. They've also won 3 of the last 5 meetings. Now, normally when these teams play each other, they are higher scoring games. So I'm going to stay off the total and I will just take the Canes to that over or to the money line for that. Next game, we got the Ottawa Senators versus the Utah Hockey Club. The Utah Hockey Club, the dog at home at minus 106, and the Ottawa Senators coming in at minus 113. This is one you're going to have to wait until the goaltending is announced. Allmark is expected back in goal here for the Ottawa Senators. And with Allmark in goal, I will take the Senators to get the win. Minus 113 currently on the money line. Now we have a total of 6.5. Minus 114 to the under, minus 106 to the over. Sign me up for a high-scoring, scrappy game. Even though I like Allmark tonight between these two, I'm looking for those penalties to come left, right, and center. You guys know the Ottawa Senators with Brady Tkachuk always draw a ton of penalties, but the Utah Hockey Club can't stay out of the box this season to save their lives. And the power play is clicking here for Ottawa. The Utah Hockey Club are averaging 14.2 minutes in the box, worst in the league. And we have a Senators team that's converting at 38.2% of the time on the power play, second best overall in the league. I expect Allmark to be strong. This is the first game on the road here for the Ottawa Senators. Now, they've had a tough schedule, but their schedule just looks to get harder. They play here at the Utah Hockey Club, and then they have Vegas on Friday and the Avs on Sunday. I feel for this team. I still think this team can make the playoffs, but they got to get this win. They got to get every win they can get. Connor Ingram expected in net for the Utah Hockey Club. And now, I love the Utah Hockey Club and what they bring to the table. Their power play is converting at 23.5%. Their kill is strong at 85.2%. So they will have a little bit of an advantage on that kill, but the power play is just so strong here for the Senators. I would look, if you're looking at points for Utah, at Clayton Keller. Now, I love the points, the power play points coming in here for the Ottawa Senators. Brady Tkachuk for the power play point coming in at plus 275. But you could also look at Josh Norris, Batherson, Sanderson, and Tim Struzal there for those power play points as well, and parlay round robin these players together, because I think on this top line, we're going to see the power play convert at least twice or 3 times in this game. They're going to have so many opportunities with Utah spending 14.2 minutes in the box. Utah could sit out almost a full quarter of this game, one of their players, with how they're doing. So I would look at the power play points heavy on them tonight for the Ottawa Senators. You already got the Senators on the money line. That's what I like to hear. Okay, you guys, let's look at the next one. The Pittsburgh Penguins facing my Calgary Flames. Now Calgary off the loss to Seattle in Seattle. They're coming in at minus 115 here. Dustin Wolf expected. Now, Dustin Wolf has been fantastic to start the season, but when are we going to see that regression hit? Will it be tonight versus the Pittsburgh Penguins, Malkin, Sidney Crosby? Because the Penguins are coming in as the dog at minus 105. Calgary's overperformed what we expected out of them this season. And yes, they were a hard team to step in front of versus the Seattle Kraken, because we looked at those road ice. We looked at how Calgary played versus the Kraken, but they were handed the L. So looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins here at minus 105, total of 6.5, I am leaning to the Penguins to get the win, even though I'm a Calgary Flames fan. I do think Wolfie is due for regression, even though he's sitting 2-0 on the season with a 2.02 goals against average. I like what the Penguins are bringing to the table offensively. This team averaging 3.43 goals per game. Their face-off is so strong at 54.4% of the wins, and their power play clicking at 23.8. They're getting a ton of shots as well, almost 32 shots on goal per game. When we look at Calgary, yes, this team is averaging 4 goals per game, 27.2 shots on net, and their power play converting great at 29.4%, but they can't win the face-offs. And against a team that is so strong at winning those face-offs, I can't take the Calgary Flames. You also look at the Pittsburgh Penguins. They've lost their last 2. That last game to the Winnipeg Jets in a game that they tried to battle back and forth, trying to get the win, but ended up losing at 6-3. I do think they can have success. Now, they've got a hard schedule. The Oilers on deck on Friday and the Canucks on Saturday. So they've got the Friday, Saturday back-to-back. They need to win this one here. Get a win here before they head up to Edmonton now versus Edmonton and Vancouver. I could see them splitting the Alberta double-double. So if they win tonight, I can see them losing to Edmonton, especially if we get Edmonton off the loss to the Carolina Hurricanes tonight, and then them winning actually out in Vancouver, because Vancouver is going to be returning from that road trip. So that's where I'm looking further look ahead as well. The defense definitely is a mess here for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but they absolutely need to lock down. You could look at this one to be higher scoring. I think higher scoring first period for sure. I'm going to take the over 1.5 goals in the first period. It's so juicy though, at minus 140, you guys. Both teams to score at plus 158 in the first period, I think, is a solid way to go. But I do think the Pittsburgh Penguins win the first period. I'm going to take them first period at minus 110. I think this game is a 2-1 first period here, with the Pittsburgh Penguins leading after that first. When we look at the Penguins and we look at those trends in the first period, they're 5-2 for the first period to go to that over. So they've been strong to that over in the first period. You guys, we are almost there. We've got 2 games left to talk about. I hope you guys have been agreeing with me on some of these bets. Let's make some freaking money out there on the ice. 2 games left, which will be the San Jose Sharks and the Anaheim Ducks and the LA Kings and the Vegas Golden Knights. So let's jump into the Sharks first versus the Ducks. The Sharks coming in as the dog on the road at plus 134. We know this team can be scrappy on the road. Tyler Toffoli has been hugely impactful offensively for this team. And now the Anaheim Ducks at minus 162. Who wants to lay juice with the Ducks? Total of 5.5, minus 130 to the over 5.5. Mackenzie Blackwood is expected in net for the San Jose Sharks. And with Mackenzie Blackwood in net, it is a hard pill for me to swallow to play on the Sharks, even though I like what they've done on the road like prior seasons. He's just been giving up way too many goals. Now, Dostal expected here for the Anaheim Ducks. I have faith in Dostal. Now, this team has lost their last two, and the San Jose Sharks yet to win a game. They've lost all 6 of their games. Their last loss was to the Colorado Avalanche at home, 4-1. They're at the Kings on Thursday to start to continue this road trip here. So it's a hard place to bet the Sharks. I can't get behind them. I think player props in this game is the only way I want to go. So because the Sharks have to break the streak at some point, but my money can't go there. Tyler Toffoli for the anytime goal for the Sharks. Celebrini still out. So Tyler Toffoli coming in at plus 200. When I look at the other side for the Anaheim Ducks, Frank Vertangio is day-to-day. So he's out for personal reasons. This Ducks team's also won 5 of the last 6 versus the Sharks. I would look at Mason McTavish here to come out and get a goal. He's yet to get a goal on the season. He's on the top line. He's coming in at plus 260. I'm expecting him to be a difference maker for this team and for this team tonight. Now, he has 2 assists already on the season. He's on that top line with Trevor Seagrass. So I do expect him to come to play tonight. Troy Terry, he's been a moneymaker for us. Troy Terry for the anytime goal at plus 220. So player props, no side, no total in this one. I don't want anything to do with it. I'll just count on those players that have been making us money. The last game on deck, 11 o'clock Eastern. If you make it up for this game, we got the LA Kings taking on the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Now, the Knights, the favorite at home. We know the Fortress will be rocking here because they're also Pacific time, so they're 3 hours behind. So 11 Eastern, a matchup, minus 128 for the Kings, plus 106 for the Kings, minus 128 for the Knights, total of 5.5. Goaltending matchup. Rittich expected here for the LA Kings. Solid numbers, 2-1 with a 2.37 goals against average and a save percentage just under 900. When we look at Aiden Hill coming out here for the Vegas Golden Knights, he's allowed some more goals, 3.81 goals against average, and that save percentage is low to start the season at 851. So definitely the stronger goalie as of now. Current form is Rittich, David Rittich coming in here for the LA Kings. Now, I do think there's value on the Kings here on the road. This is the last game of their 7-game road trip to start the season. Like I said at the start of the show, this team is yet to play at home. They won their last 2 games. They got the win over the Anaheim Ducks 4-1 in their last game out on Sunday. And then the Thursday, they were able to get a win over the Montreal Canadiens 4-1. So this team has been doing solid at limiting their opponents in the last couple to light goals. In the last 2, holding both of those teams to only 1 goal. That being said, it was the Ducks and the Montreal Canadiens. And we look at the Vegas Golden Knights and what this team can do offensively. This team is averaging 3.83 goals per game. They're converting at 29.4% on the power play. They're getting those shots at average 26.3. Now, Jack Eichel, Mark Stone, we know we've got those big playmakers, those big names here for the Vegas Golden Knights. They're going to look to put on a performance here at home. My faith in the Kings comes in my lack of faith in Aiden Hill and what he's been doing. This defense is allowing 3.33 goals per game. Their kill is 69.2%, which isn't great at all. But the kill hasn't, or the power play hasn't been great for the Kings. So those kind of wipe each other out for me. It's under 20%. The kill is 78.6% here for the LA Kings. So they have a solid kill. They're going to have to do their best to stay out of the box and not allow Vegas on this power play to be able to get the win. Their first home game is on Thursday versus the San Jose Sharks. The Vegas Golden Knights are also home off a 3-game road trip, which is never a great place for these teams. It's a fade for me, especially when that very last game there was an overtime battle versus the Florida Panthers. They lost all 3 of those road games. This is a strong home team, but give me the hotter team right now. Won their last 2 versus them. I'm going to take the LA Kings at plus 126 on the money line and hold my nose and hope to God that this isn't just like a Jets versus Steelers game where I was so completely wrong, but I don't think it will be. The home team has won the last 5, though. So if you're looking to back Vegas, that is a strong trend to back Vegas. These teams will play next Wednesday in LA. So we've got a couple of these teams playing each other pretty quick, but that is all of the bets for today. We've gone over every single one of these games. I hope you guys had some fun with me. We've been here for the last 54 minutes. Tomorrow's show is going to be short, sweet, and fast. Only one game on deck tomorrow, so make sure you come back here at noon Eastern. But let's make freaking money on the ice, you guys. Give the video a like, please. And if you could retweet it, I would appreciate it so much more. Matt, thank you for hanging in there, joining me this whole time. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to go drink some water. My throat is getting raw. You are so welcome, Daniel. You guys, it's snowing out here. Frozen frenzy here in YYC. It's a great day to sit by the fireplace. Have a good one.